This is Jason Anderson, Town Council. We are calling this special town council meeting to order. It is currently 7 p.m. on Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. For roll call purposes, all council members are in attendance except for Mr. Grandelski, who is absent with notification, and Ms. Murphy, who is joining us remotely. We'll move on to the agenda. Next item up is item 3A, interviews of boards and commissions. Daniel Bott is seeking reappointment to the Historic District Commission. And I do not see him this evening. Next up is Brenda Kutu is seeking appointment to the Water Pollution Control Authority. As an alternate member, her term would run from November 1st, 2024 to October 31st, 2026. This would be alternate member position number 2. The WPCA currently has one alternate member vacancy. Alternate member terms run for 2 years from November 1st through October 3rd.
That's what we're on.
Ms. Kutu, if you could, please come sit at the table. Just hit the button on the microphone. It should light up green and turn the microphone on.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, on behalf of the council and the town, I just want to thank you for coming forward and seeking to serve the community. And can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve on the WPCA?
I've been living in Killingly since 2004. I spent a brief time in Plainfield, but most of my time has been here. I live very close to the plant. I worked at Delta Rubber for a while. It was a very bad time, but I was always pleased to walk into Delta Rubber and smell the burning rubber. Just, things seem to have gotten a little better with the plant. Recently, I don't know if it's just allergy season, but I haven't been really smelling too much, but last summer it was horrendous. And I just felt like maybe I could be part of a change. I work for Access Community Action Agency. I've been there 17 years. I worked at the emergency shelter for 15, and now I'm a case manager. I'm a grandmother of 2 children who live in Rogers, and I'd really like them to be able to grow up around here and just be happy in a healthy environment.
Thank you. I will open up to council members for questions, comments. Michelle, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I don't have any questions. I'm grateful that you're coming forward. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Basically what I was gonna say, so.
Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. I know we do have a good group on the WPCA, and there's definitely a lot of knowledge there who can help you learn the position if you're appointed. And we will be voting on your appointment on next Tuesday.
Excellent.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. What I say?
You too. Next item up on the agenda is item 3D, but I do not see Mr. Griffiths here. Or excuse me, 3C, but I do not see Mr. Griffiths here. So we will go on to item 4, citizen statements and petitions. If anyone would like to make public comment regarding the items on this evening's agenda, please step up to the podium and state your name and address. Last call for public comment. Seeing no public comment, Mr. Conroy, do we have any public comment submitted other than the one we have here from Heather Marshall, which is actually not pertinent to tonight's meeting?
No, sir, that was the only one.
Okay, thank you. So I would just ask that comment be put on the public comments for the regular town council meeting, since it's not pertinent to this evening's agenda. Thank you. Moving on to the agenda, item 5, old business, we have none. So we'll move on to item 6A, meeting with Planning and Zoning Commission and Staff Liaison Anne Marie Aubrey.
There's only 2 chairs and there's 4 of us.
No.
All right.
Sit I didn't pull a planning chair.
I'm thinking 1:30. I'm good.
I wish.
Wow, don't you feel like they threw you under the bus?
What's that?
Don't you feel like they threw you under the bus by putting you in the front in the hot seats?
My wife did that to me 8 years ago. That's why I'm still here.
We volunteered for this.
That's right. My wife volunteered me.
Well, welcome. We thank you for coming this evening. And can you just go over what's going on with planning and zoning recently and anything new you see coming up on the horizon?
We're going over the PRD right now, that piece of controversy, and we'll have a public hearing coming up, I think, the 16th. Is that right, Anne Marie?
Yes, it is.
So that'll be the first public hearing for that. And we're not sure where we're going after that, but I got a feeling with this new legislation that's being voted on right now somewhere, I don't know where it is in the approval stage at the state level, I got a feeling it's gonna affect us quite a bit. We'll be really changing things around, I guess, from what I'm reading. I'm not really sure, and I don't think anybody really is. So that may be our next big item. Go ahead, Brian, you got something?
No, so you just add in that with the update to the PRD, we also cleaned up and updated the site plan rules and the special permit rules to make them consistent throughout. So again, it's part of our effort to streamline the rules and make them more user-friendly.
Thank you.
Yeah, not a lot, so, any questions from people at all?
I know Mr. Grandelsky wasn't able to be here this evening. Him and I did have a brief discussion earlier today. Just one question I have is back relating to the project that was on 101 where in your special permit, it said that construction would not start until DOT approval was submitted to the town. And the same thing was listed on the zoning permit and the building permit, as well as your special permit. Considering that the footing inspection happened prior to DOT approval, have you looked into wording special permits a little differently, so a situation like that doesn't happen again? Because the feedback that we had gotten from the town manager was that town staff had reached out to DOT and DOT had given verbal indication that they didn't see issues with the permit, and this was prior to the permit being approved by DOT, and that's the way the town had always done it. To me, just going by the actual wording of your special permit and the building permit and the zoning permits, they all stated construction wouldn't start prior to DOT approval being submitted to the town. So I'm just wondering if you've considered changing anything, whether on any special permits where you have a condition like that, where you consider changing the wording to written DOT approval be submitted to the town, just to clarify, preventing the issues from like that happening again, where it's, oh, well, that's the way we've always done it. It was, DOT was okay with it, but they hadn't approved it yet. I just, coming from the council, I know when we set guidelines for something to happen, and if something weren't to follow what we said, I know we would look to rectify that to prevent misinterpretations later on.
Interpretations are always by whoever's reading them. That's something I learned many years ago with regulations. You can define them in many different ways. In terms of that, I think as commissioners, we count on the staff to take care of that and handle it. But we also understand that with the state, it's so long and time to get any response from them and people move on. I kind of think it's the contractor in that case is kind of like moving on his own risk, because he, doesn't have something in writing, I mean, let's face it, if you don't get nothing in writing, the state can change things any way they want. And if you're committed, but, I understand how it happened. Ideally, I think we would like to see it stay within written guidelines like we asked for. It's not, over the years, it's not the first thing that it doesn't, it's just the human nature, that things change, and try to be cooperative and have things move forward. I understand what's going on, but I don't know if you wanna add something, Brian?
Oh, I always do. Sorry. No, I just want to add in what Keith said. So we've always tried as a commission to be user-friendly, right? To applicants coming for us and try to make sure that their projects can move forward, right, in a timely manner. So, we can go two ways with this. One is, we've always issued conditions when we know something's pending from an approval process, that, hey, this approval needs to be submitted prior to starting construction. Again, our wording could be a little bit better on that. The other option is that we don't issue approvals until all approvals come in hand. Right, and that could delay projects 30, 60, 90 days. I think as a town and as a commission, we want to try to make sure that these things can move forward so people don't leave our town and say it's not a user-friendly town. So can we be better with our conditions, a little bit wording? Yeah, we can, but it is consistent across the board over the years I've been on the commission that we do issue when we know something, they've discussed it, we get good feedback from the applicant, good feedback from those other commissions, whether it be fire marshal, DOT, sewer authority, other, things that need to come from us for a project to move forward. That if we know they're pending, right, and there's just a little bit of paperwork, then again, we do make that approval with that condition, right? So it's not like this project, I think, was at risk. We knew the DOT approval was coming, right? So could we be better with our wording? Yes, we can. But I don't think the commission nor the town wants us to go the other way, which is, sorry, you're denied because that pending permit's not in front of us, and please take your business elsewhere.
My personal opinion, the way you guys worded your special permit, I thought you did what was best for the community, best for the developer. I just had concerns of the way it was followed through on town staff side. Yeah, and I just thought maybe some clarification, if you put in there written approval, might take away any possible issues down the road. I will open up to other council members for comments. Ms. George?
I just wanted to clarify, HB 5002 as of today has passed the House and the Senate, so now it's gonna be heading towards the governor's desk.
But the question is what's in it?
Yeah. A lot.
Yeah,
More than
I mean, I
should.
tried researching it myself to, and it's like endless.
It's a 3-page bill with 92 pages of amendments.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. But yeah, so that's where it is right now.
And the only probably saving grace for most of the municipalities is the COGS are up in arms and they don't like it either, so.
The what?
The COGS, councils of government
Oh.
across the state, are all like, yeah, Hartford, you don't know what you're doing, so.
Right.
I mean, that's, at least we got somebody in our corner fighting for us. I mean, definitely Hartford, that's for sure.
I think it was Jeff Gordon had an article in the WIY saying, and it was, to me, it was exactly right. You're trying to take and control the southwest corner of the state that doesn't need your money in the first place. And so you're making all these laws, and it affects us more than the rest of the state. And whether you're gonna actually still be able to control that southwest corner or not, I don't see how it's gonna do anything, but that's just my opinion.
So back to that project, so basically the DOT permit was really, would have only addressed the access, right? Right, so I kinda agree with you. I mean, I agree with Jason, it would be easier to have it in writing, like you said, you're gonna delay the project, contractors can move on, find some other place to put his project, so. And he is at risk, he knows. He has to move foundation, he's gonna have to hammer it out and move it. Chances are it won't happen, because you give a verbal, but, no, just saying I agree.
I just have a question, and I know you'll probably have to research the information. How many developments have been approved that are still being weighted? I know a lot of them have been, like, with the COVID, they've expanded it for like 1 million years till the building can start on it. and how many units it is? I know there was one time we had a bunch of those listed, and it was for the, sewer moratorium, that how many had been approved?
Well, I think the majority, the big ones have been approved prior to that, and they've been approved for years, they just never were developed, but I forget the technicality in Marie.
It
They keep
hasn't-
renewing them.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the moratorium, just how many units it is, and what are the potential, number of developments and how many units total.
We can get that for you.
Thank you.
Ms. Murphy, do you have any questions, comments?
No,
Oh, she's in dead zone.
Okay, thank you. I just have one question for Anne Marie, regarding, the thing I brought up as far as verbal approval as opposed to written approval. Have you made any changes in, your office as far as which way the approval is accepted now?
I have, but I've also talked to staff, and staff has said, again, as it was stated before, the gentleman would be working at his risk. It was not a risk to us. What is failed to mention is DOT inspectors were out at that site at various times before that approval went through, and they never shut him down. So that takes staff as saying that DOT, even though they have not issued the approval, that person was not doing anything that would cause them to shut it down. And they even went out an extra time at, Mr. Grandowski's request, and they didn't shut it down at that point either. So that tells us as staff that they are moving forward. It's just because they were so far, they themselves were behind in their workload. But they were checking, they were there, they were checking him. They never shut him down as far as I know. And this is something that we've always been in close contact with DOT through our highway department, through our fire marshal, through our building department. We all have contacts with DOT, so we were well aware that DOT was looking at the site and watching it, and again, as I said, they never shut it down.
So,
But we are gonna be rewording things on the documentation, just so that never happens again.
okay, all right.
I don't remember ever, I think this would have been clarified a long time ago. If it was said to us, not you guys' fault, but if it said to us that the builder was proceeding at his own risk. Being in construction, we do that all the time. I mean,
You have deadlines.
we have deadlines, right? And if we know something that is, the developer is not gonna move forward without knowing that it's gonna be,
There's a standard paragraph at the end of every one of my decision recording notices. And it says that just because you have approved, I'm paraphrasing it, but just because you have approval from us does not mean that you can move forward without other local approval, state approval, or federal approval, if any of that is needed. So they do know that they're doing it at their own risk.
right? If they miss something on the 816, they're gonna be shut down anyway.
Right, and as I said, there was DOT inspectors out there at various times, and none of them shut them down.
But I just think it would have been, I don't know, did you ever hear that they were under their own risk? I haven't.
This
So
is
if
the
that
first
was
time I've
portrayed to
heard
us,
that.
it probably wouldn't even be a thought, and,
Yeah,
you know, because let's face it, I mean, it's their land, it's their money,
we don't control DOT, we only control what's in on the land.
right?
So if DOT tells us, or tells any of my staff, that, yep, they've got their application here, it just hasn't gone through the process, you know, we don't see a problem with it. You know, as I said, over the years, then that's what's been going on.
Any further questions? You have anything further for us? Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Next item up on the agenda is item 7, executive session, and we have nothing for executive session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Catula, seconded by Mr. Whitehead. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
That's great.
This meeting is adjourned.
That's great. Fraud.